Okay, let's try and see if we can optimize the data treatment a bit. So if you don't want to go through every single file and opening it up and copying out all of the different peaks, once we've developed a method to analyze our data, we can actually take all of the samples that have been run and we can export them into text files. So in order to do that, we have to go to our main post-run batch. So basically I want to run a batch after or post my actual analysis run. If I do that, I get a new window here where I can select in group 4 the batch file that I previously used to run all of the measurements. So I'm going to open up that, and then we can see here over on the right, we can see which trays and vials have been run and all of this. And we can now start to change how we want to run this batch. So for instance, the method file, I'm going to change that and say I would like to find the method that I used for the data treatment. So I go to Analytical 2004, International, and it was group 4 we're working with. So it's data that I want to use. I'm going to select that. Of course, I need to do it for all, so I can right click and ask to fill down. I now have the data everywhere. And we can also say let me just do like this, our report output, we don't want that at all. We can continue on towards the right. I just have to scroll a bit. There we go. We can say I want to do background, and the background file I want to use, I'll select one of my blanks, open up, fill that down. That didn't work. We'll just do like this, fill down. So now I've told the system that I want to use my new data method over here. I want to do background compensation or calibration for all of them, and I want to use my blank too. So at this point, I can ask it to run my batch. So I basically just go, I'm just going to check my settings first. Here we go. So this tells me the stuff that I'll be exporting. So I can go to my ASCII conversion and say, first of all, where do I want to save the files? Okay. So you can output each batch or each analysis. We're going to do each analysis. We're going to ask it to be exported into Analytical Chemistry 2024 International Group 4. There we go. And then we can decide what we want to export. Okay, so I am going to remove everything. So you can play around with this, figure out what you actually want to export. But in general, what you're interested in is you're interested in your peak table and your data file properties. So we're going to try and say that's what we want to export. Once we've set that up, over on the left, we can select Start Post-Run Batch. We'll do that. It asks if we want to save current batch file. We'll just say yes. Blah, blah. Save current data file, no. And off it goes. So now it's just going to run through all of the different files, apply our method, remove our blanks or subtract our blanks. And at some point, we'll just let it finish. No, we don't need to rewrite it into the data files. So at this point, let's just see here. At this point, I can then open up local disk, go to my, where is it? It's Lab Solutions, Data, Analytical Chemistry, blah, 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 and Group 4. And suddenly we have all sorts of lovely files here. And that will basically be your raw data. So we have some information about which sample it is, sample name blank test in this case. And if we scroll down a bit, oh, it's not, of course it's a blank. Never mind, of course it hasn't found any peaks. So that's perfectly fine. Here we go. So which one is this? This is standard 4, for instance. So one of the standard 4 samples of group 4, if we scroll down, we see that for channel 1, we have retention times, areas, and so on. It actually exports everything that it can sort of calculate, or a lot of it. But we have retention times, we have areas, that's what we want, the same for the other detector. So those are the two different wavelengths, right? So detector A, channel 1 and 2, two different wavelengths. So that's how you can export all of the data into text files. And from there, you have to either manually copy them into Excel, or you have to figure out a way to actually put together all of the data. So something like Python could be used to chew through all of the data you have and create the outputs that you're interested in.